Welcome to this video on William Wordsworth, one of the most celebrated poets of the Romantic era. William Wordsworth was born in 1770 in the Lake District of England. Orphaned at an early age, his deep emotional experiences shaped his poetic vision. He was especially close to his sister Dorothy, who would later become a major influence on his work. His poetic journey began early. At just 16, he published his first poem. But it was his trip to revolutionary France in 1791 that changed him. There, he fell in love with Annette Vallon and became deeply inspired by the ideals of liberty and equality. In 1798, Wordsworth and his close friend Samuel Taylor Coleridge published Lyrical Ballads. This work marked the start of the Romantic movement. It aimed to bring poetry closer to ordinary people, using the language of everyday life and deep emotional expression. Nature was everything to Wordsworth, his friend, philosopher, and spiritual guide. In poems like Daffodils, Tinton Abbey, and The World is Too Much with Us, he reveals how nature uplifts and purifies the human soul. Wordsworth didn't just write individual poems, he had a grand vision. He planned a massive poetic trilogy titled The Recluse, a spiritual and philosophical work meant to explore the connection between man, nature, and the divine. Only parts of this ambitious project were completed. The Prelude, an autobiographical poem and introduction to The Recluse. It traces the growth of the poet's mind, from his innocent childhood to his spiritual and creative maturity, with nature guiding him at every step. The Excursion, 1814, the only full volume published during his lifetime. The third part of The Recluse was never written, but the vision behind it lives on in his other works. Apart from the Recluse project, Wordsworth gave us some of the most beautiful and reflective poetry in English literature. I wandered lonely as a cloud, where joy springs from a memory of golden daffodils dancing in the breeze. The Solitary Reaper, a Highland girl's song that echoes deep in the poet's heart long after it ends. Ode, Intimations of Immortality, a meditation on the fading spiritual glow of childhood and the power of memory. Composed upon Westminster Bridge, a rare moment of stillness and beauty captured in early morning London. The Old Cumberland Beggar and The Idiot Boy, where Wordsworth shows compassion for outcasts and the suffering poor, portraying their lives with dignity and feeling. Through these poems, Wordsworth gave voice to silence, meaning to solitude, and soul to nature. He showed that the poet, like the recluse, finds truth not in noise, but in reflection, not in society, but in stillness. In 1813, Wordsworth accepted a government job and slowly turned conservative in his politics. He moved to Rydal and lived there for the rest of his life. After the death of Robert Southey in 1843, he was made Poet Laureate of England. He passed away in 1850 and was buried at St. Oswald's Church, Grasmere. His daughter Dora had died just 3 years earlier, a tragedy that deeply affected him. But William Wordsworth's legacy lives on. He taught the world that nature is not just scenery, it's a spiritual presence. That poetry belongs not to the elite, but to everyone, especially the humble, the poor, the solitary. And that a recluse, far from being disconnected, might just be the one most deeply connected to life itself. If you like this video, then don't forget to like, share, and subscribe the channel.